Hey everybody, my name is Kaylee. I am a film, wedding, and portrait photographer based in Florida, and I'm super glad you've joined me today. Welcome back for another video. I am in the middle of a video series that chronicles my film journey session by session in hopes that you can learn something from my victories and my failures. So if you go back and look at some of my earlier videos, some of those first videos will be the first sessions I did on film, some of the first rolls of film I ever shot, and hopefully as we go along session by session, you can kind of see how I've grown in film and what little things I've learned here and there, so maybe you can give them a try or you can just learn something that'll help propel you forward in your film journey. So let's go ahead and get started. This is Mitchell and Kristen. They hired me for an engagement session. And I shot this session hybrid because we got there at the location of their session. It was a little bit overcast, actually a lot overcast. And near the very end of their session, the sun came out, and I was able to finally place them in a couple of places where the sun would be shining directly into them. I didn't have them backlit. I had them facing into the sun, which was really nice, and it provided a lot of really great colors, and their contrast was really good on a lot of these images, and so I was really pleased with them. But for the most part, you're going to see that on these images here, you're going to see how easy and quick it is for me to edit these photos because film is easy to edit for me. I don't do much to them except adjust my lighting and my like highlights and shadows, kind of contrast pretty much. And lately I've had this trend where I have liked upping my saturation a little bit. So I think it just adds a little bit more color pop, not just lighting pop. So I think I'm just going to add this preset here, and then maybe just bring up my magenta just a little bit. And guys, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else I really want to do to this. My contrast looks good. Her hair looks nice and dark. The highlights aren't way too overdone. If you would want to, you can bring down those highlights a little bit, because right around here where his forehead and his ears are, you can definitely see that I had them placed in sun. So you can go down to your tone curve a little bit if you want, and just mess around a little bit with those sliders just until you get it where it's where everything is kind of balanced. So okay, well, I think that's it. I like it. Okay, and next it's this image. Ooh, I love this image. I planned out this image and had been wanting to do this image from day one. This was shot with a Nifty 50 35mm camera, and well, a Nifty 50 on a 35mm camera, and it only stopped down to 1.8, but still that was enough for me to get that beautiful like circular out of focus like framing, you know. So I'm just going to slap on this preset here. And then the main thing that I see here is just my coloring. I like my exposure so far, but I really want to adjust my coloring. So I'm going to bring up my warmth a little and then balance that out with some magenta. And then I'm going to push my saturation to 10, and then bring down my highlights and my lights just a little bit. So yeah, I think that's okay to me. In a normal situation, I would push the warmth to a lot more warm and then balance it out with some magenta, which I like. But with an image like this is a little bit more difficult for me to edit, just because of a couple of like color casts that are casting up on their skin, and it takes like a fine balance, like a fine tuning to get their skin tones accurate, because I see her skin tone is really pretty here, but then I look at his and his is just a little more red. So it would be really hard to get my tint slider exactly where I wanted it, at least in my eyes, the artist's eyes, to get it absolutely perfect. And so I'm just going to settle with this slight little imperfection. Maybe I'm being a little picky, I don't know, but I love this image. And maybe here in the back, just I spotted this, I might bring up my shadows just a little to even things out. Okay, and that's it, before and after. So whenever I chose Portra 400 to shoot with, its main characteristics that I wanted in a film stock were its two strongest characteristics, were its color profile and its contrast. So I like that it has contrast and it's not too muted, which I think that a muted film has its place, just as portrait has its place. But for me, I just love for things to have a little bit more pop and a little bit more contrast, and I love the color profile of portrait. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this preset. Ooh, I love it, but it looks a little green. So I'm going to bring up my magenta a little, but be careful not to turn his hands red. So yeah, that looks all right to me. I'm actually going to bring down my brightness down to 40 because my highlights are starting to look a little cray-cray. So I'm going to bring that down just a little, but boost the highlights. I don't think I want to mess with my saturate. Yeah, I do. I guess I do. Yeah, I think I might bring up my saturation just by maybe 8 clicks here. 10's a little much. And there we go, before and after. So very soon you're going to catch on at my little workflow that I like to do. I usually apply my basic preset, I adjust my tone and then my color, take care of a specific tone curve if I need to, and then fine tune any colors that I need to. But other than that, that's it. I love it. Okay, I'm actually going to take these settings here, and I'm going to paste them into this image here. Oh yes, I love that. Oh, so pretty. I might bring up my magenta just a little more. And I'm actually going to crop this image. I'm going to use this fun rule that I learned from Amy and Jordan Demos, where I'm going to just crop at her thigh right here, just to kind of, I don't know, just balance out the picture a little more, because I see a lot of like dark spots up here, and then you got them that's well lit, and you see the details of the bridge that they're standing on and some lightness back here, but I just want to take out a little bit of that darkness and heaviness that's up there, and I couldn't avoid that. That's just the park that we were at. That's just where we were. So, okay. Oh, yay, I love it. Does this need to be straightened a little? Let's see. I'll be okay with it straightened. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine with it straightened. I think it looks fine either way. Okay, and that looks good. So this here, I love this image, and we can tell right off the bat it looks a little green, but I shot this in mixed lighting. You can see that there's a lot of really strong light coming on from the right side of her face, and then heavy shadows over here on the left, which is of course another characteristic of Portra 400, but as per usual, I was shooting this without a light meter, and don't worry, I will tell you and inform you on the very first session that I shot with a light meter, and you will see a lovely difference. But as for right now, I was shooting film, and the cheapest light meter that was out there was like $200 or $225 or $150 or something like that. I was just out of my budget at the time. And once I learned that you could sort of, you know, push Portra 400 like one stop in camera and it'd be totally fine, I was like, yes, let's do it. So that's all that I did. That was my method to my madness. So I'm going to add this preset here, but I'm actually going to pull back down my exposure to maybe just a 20. Lift my shadows. Bring down that, not the texture, what am I doing? The highlights, this is what I meant to do. My highlights down just a little. Same thing here, bring down those highlights. Oh, too much. Nope. And then, there we go. And then I'm going to actually push up that magenta and make her look a little more natural. Oh yeah, you get it, girl. I love it. Super pretty. And then my saturation is going to come up just a smidge. Okay, and there we go. That's that. Okay, here's this. Oh, this is one of my most favorite images I've ever taken. I love this image. Look at just the pretty roses in the background and the greens. And I tried to do this like depth of field thing where I had like layering going on with the flowers in the back and then leaves and stuff up front up here. But the one thing that I kind of missed is that I placed one of these little red leaves on his head and on his hair, and it kind of makes him look like he's got like super dyed like red hair or something. But you know, it's just a little mistake, and if I wanted to, I could probably go into Photoshop and edit this out somehow. But you know, I just want to leave it for now, keep things kind of organic. So I'm going to add this preset here, which I love. bring down those highlights a little more because I placed them right in direct, spotlight of the sun, and that just really heated up those highlights a lot. So shadows are going to come up just a little and highlights are going to come down some just to really balance things out. Same thing down here with our tone curve. Yep, that looks good to me. I'm going to push their saturation. Let's keep their saturation at 15. Because I just love the colors here. The colors are just so beautiful. She's wearing a floral dress, and I put them in a rose garden, and just so pretty. So I'm just going to stay true to my original intentions and keep things colorful. So, and then I think my white balance is okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. I might just bring up this just a smidge. Okay, that's just my tint. I just brought that up to 4 clicks. So before and after. Okay, and last but not least, a pretty little side portrait here of Kristen snipping a cute little flower. And then it's actually like, hey girl, I'm in the garden. You want to come hit me up? Oh yeah, girl, how you doing? Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. Thank you, darling. So anyway, okay. Let's go ahead and add that preset. Welcome to Stories with Gailey, which isn't how that happened at all, but I made it look that way. So the art of storytelling. So here she is. I'm going to bring down to about 40 because our highlights were getting a little bit warm. Maybe not warm, just hot, which means the highlights were getting a little blown out here. Bring down my highlights some, and my color, I'm just going to have to stay put with my color for now because my instinct is to add magenta to balance things out, but I really like what the computer reads because a little bit more green actually, I kind of like this, but I'm going to stay true to myself and bring back up those magentas and keep things a little bit on the warmer side. So okay, and it's just adjusting. I'm over here to the right, just adjusting a little. And then my saturation is going to come up 5 because I don't want to add way too much saturation, but I think it adds that color pop that I want. And then lastly, bring down my highlights and then up my lights for that last bit of pop, and I'm done. So that looks good to me. So let's go back and review every image. 1, that was the quickest edit I did. 2, 3, 4, so pretty. 5, oops, 6. Actually, I'm seeing some highlights back there that are a little bit warm. I spotted some right here that were a little too warm, so I'm going to actually come back here and bring down my highlights just a little more. I don't think I can actually do anything to bring back the detail in that highlight, but I'm going to bring it back down a little anyway. Okay, and then there's that image 4, actually a 6, and 7. Awesome. Okay guys, thanks again for joining me. So glad you can be here. If you have tuned in so far and you've been watching all of my Edit With Me videos in this series that I've been working on and providing for you, thank you so very much. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully you're learning something. Feel free to reach out to me in the comments below or in the YouTube inbox. Can you still send messages on here? I don't know. I'm about to find out. Or email me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and actually I had a little bit of a treat last week where I edited a little bit about my film gear setup for weddings and portraits. So if you are interested in seeing how I get all of my gear put on and ready and prepared to shoot and film, go back and watch that video. That's a fun little ditty that I made for you. So have a wonderful, wonderful day and be blessed. Bye.